I pushed it off after college for a little bit. I graduated in 2019, so I've been out for 5-ish 6 years, and I thought it was time to bite the bullet. So I started searching some resources online, and I had two other coworkers that actually took your FE course, and they both passed first try as well. So it was pretty solid recommendations. I would separate it into two halves. That first half was with on demand, the homework and the live lecture. A week, you're probably looking at that 15 to 20. I try to watch 2-ish hours a day and do some of the homework. If you're thinking of doing it, or you're on a career path that's going to push you towards it, you might as well just knock it out. Waiting longer is not going to get any easier. And with a bunch of like your resources and just stuff that's out there on the internet, it's definitely doable if you're out of school 2 months or 2 years or 10 years or longer. I imagine there's even people out there longer.
But if every question is taking 5 minutes of your time, there is no way you'll be able to complete the exam. Hi, Ryan.
Hey, it's going. How you doing, Wasim?
I am doing very well. So, Ryan, congratulations on passing your FE electrical and computer exam on the first attempt.
Thank you.
How does it feel?
A weight is off my shoulders. As much as I enjoy your classes, I'm glad I don't have to, sit in there 4 hours a day.
Right, but the journey is only half done, right? Half complete.
Yeah, PE next.
Exactly. So, in the words of Lord of the Rings, you're probably where you're halfway through your journey towards the end of Mordor, right? There's a lot to come.
Yeah, we just met Golem.
Exactly. Oh yeah, you departed Golem for a little while. He's gonna make a comeback. In terms of your FE electrical and computer exam preparation, what was the driving motivation? I know you work in the MEP environment, you work in the consulting environment, right? So getting the P license obviously that is the end goal. So how did you buckle down and you're like, okay, I want to take this and get this done?
Yeah, so I'm an electrical engineer at a engineering firm, predominantly doing arc flash studies, a few other things here and there. But my company pushes us a bit to go get it. They obviously, would love some licensure. So I talked to my supervisor, came to that point, and I pushed it off after college for a little bit. I graduated in 2019, so I've been out for 5-ish 6 years, and I thought it was time to bite the bullet. So I started searching some resources online, and I had two other coworkers that actually took your FE course, and they both passed first try as well. So it was pretty solid recommendations.
That's great. When you got started after a little bit of procrastination, how did you come to terms with that? I'm going to be studying 15 hours, 20 hours a week. I will have to make some sacrifices on within different areas of my life. And how was the journey? Slowly, did you dive into the deep end right away, or did you slowly build up the momentum? And what did you use to anchor your preparation along the way?
Yeah, so I signed up in January, mid-January. I believe I signed up 2, maybe 3-ish weeks after you started your January course, so I missed the math section and then circuit analysis. So in the beginning, I was doing a lot of catch-up. That was really, really time-consuming in the beginning because, I'd go back, I'd watch the live lecture for circuit analysis while I was trying to watch the on-demand for the next week 3 or 4. So in the beginning, I really feel I had to dive in. But once I was caught up, after I'd probably say 3-ish weeks, I was doing 2 lessons at a time. After that, it's I took my foot off the gas a little bit, and I probably really dove back in mid-February, so a little like a 3 weeks of catching up and then 2 weeks of riding it out a bit. But yeah, in the beginning, I knew because I was behind, I really just dove headfirst in, doing as much as I could. I also, naturally work my full-time job, and I also try to have a life outside of this room. And so there were some days better than others, some lectures that it definitely hit harder than others. And, the homework, I would go through, do those. I'd watch as much of the on-demand as I could. And then I was on 85% of the live lectures, I'd say I was able to join. And then if not, I would watch them, the morning after.
Right. So what level of effort are we looking at in terms of number of hours per week on average?
I would separate it into two halves. That first half was with on-demand, the homework and the live lecture. A week, you're probably looking at that 15 to 20. I try to watch, 2-ish hours a day and do some of the homework, depending on what on-demand course I just watched. And then Saturday, Sundays, naturally, your courses are or the lab lectures. On the shorter end, 2.5, 2 hours, and on the longer end, 3.5. So 3 6, sprinkling an extra 12 in there. So you're looking at 15 to 20. And that was the first half while I was going through and doing the on-demand and live lectures. Afterwards, after I finished the 17, 18-week course, it was honestly 20 to 25. This last week, I think it was 30. I took 2 days off work just to cram a little bit more. I was real nervous at the end, but pulled it through.
Yeah, so it's an intense effort over 4.5 months, give or take, right? But you got the job done, first attempt, being out of school for 6 years. In terms of your advice for somebody who is thinking about FE electrical but is not sure whether it's going to be helpful for them or what the trajectory is going to be, I guess we cannot speculate on that. If somebody decides not to do engineering work, then maybe there is not as much value for the P licensure. But knowing what you know now, would you have taken this exam sooner rather than later?
Yeah, I probably would have taken it earlier. The closer to school, I think just the better, naturally. I had to relearn a few of the circuit analysis, Kirchhoff current law, our favorite method. I had to relearn that guy throughout. So closer to school the better. But if you're thinking of doing it, or you're on a career path that's going to push you towards it, you might as well just knock it out. Waiting longer is not going to get any easier. And with a bunch of like your resources and just stuff that's out there on the internet, it's definitely doable if you're out of school 2 months or 2 years or 10 years or longer. I imagine there's even people out there longer.
Yeah, I have a lot of students in my program who are 20 plus years out of school, a lot of internationally trained engineers as well who haven't done undergraduate in the US, and it is totally doable. But then at the same time, the fact of the matter is that there's a lot of work, there's a lot of effort that goes into this exam preparation. So we are not trying to sugarcoat that it's going to be a breeze. It will be overwhelming at some points, right? If not throughout, but it is worth it. In terms of the sections that bothered you the most during your exam preparation and that you were least interested in learning or relearning, you mentioned a handful of topics that you learned, relearned, right? What were the most problematic sections for you when you were going through your exam prep?
I forget the lecture or the course name of it, but it was the closed loops. That and the Laplace transforms both got me. Yeah, the closed loop transforms. There was 6 8 of those questions, and they both just got me. I was able to make educated, work through it as best I could on a few of them. But I mean, that if I could go back, that'd be the one section I would probably put a little more effort into. So I just felt more comfortable on another section.
But which sections were the most boring, more dreadful ones you went when you were actually going through the preparation, where you had to push yourself that, okay, I need to study this, right? I don't enjoy this. This is not something that I do at work, but I still have to go through it.
Yeah, it'd be the computer engineering at the end. The pseudo code is. It wasn't too difficult of a topic, but I kept finding myself just drifting off on the live lecture or needing to re-go through it quick on demand. It's just I don't do much coding. I've never particularly enjoyed coding.
Yeah, same here.
And, yeah, and then I mean, it was way back in the beginning, but the math section, I mean, it is fundamental, but I mean, going through and doing derivatives is just not exactly a fun Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, and I mean derivatives you probably got first introduced in high school, right? And maybe first year for engineering. So that's going way back into the memory lane, right? So about 10 years ago, give or take, if you graduated about 6 years ago. But that's what awaits you, right? When you take on FE, you actually have to go through all the fundamentals, whether you like them or not. If you don't like software, you still have to sort of, if you want to put up a good fight in software, which is the very last section, you still have to get yourself well versed with at least the basics. And that's what the course provides you in terms of the structure, in terms of the outline, in terms of the methodology. How did you balance work life and studying?
Yeah. My job, fortunately, I am remote, and there's a little wiggle room on my days. So if I start an hour later or I end an hour earlier, it's pretty. Yeah, so they're super understanding about that. And because my work pushed me for it, I could tell them, hey, I'm going to block out an hour on Thursday or something, as long as my work allowed. So I definitely balanced it pretty well with my general work day, the 9 to 5. On Saturdays, I was really good about if I wasn't going out or didn't have something already planned, like on my calendar, I was on those live lectures. I wake up, I would do the live lectures. Let's say they were at 10 o'clock my time, roughly. I'd probably wake up at 8:30, block out a little bit more time before to finish the homework because naturally I was procrastinating. or finish the section and then jump on that live. So definitely blocked out weekends more so. Um, After work, a lot of days during the weekdays, I've got a few other things on like Tuesdays, Thursdays I do that are just already scheduled. I play volleyball, miscellaneous things like that. And so I would end my workday maybe an hour earlier on that Tuesday or Thursday, study for 2.5 ish, 3 hours, go do my stuff, come back, eat dinner. If I was up for it, maybe watch something an hour before bed, but a lot of times I wasn't.
Right. That's great. And how did you tackle the knowledge retention challenge? Because there's so much to cover in FE. Math we do in the first week if you're going through the live training program. By the time we hit software, it's 3 months almost that you last saw derivatives and integrals that you mentioned, right? So, what was your strategy in that final stretch of your preparation, 1 2 weeks before the exam? How were you consolidating the knowledge in order to retain it?
Yeah. So I kind of referenced like the two different time commitments that I put in the first half and second half. It's probably more 75-25. Right after that week 18, 17 course live lecture, I then started doing a bunch of your practice exams. I took the exam 1 and 2 morning, afternoon session, probably 3 times each. I think 4 on the first exam. And that was really helpful in reminding me what I did remember, and then telling you what you probably aren't great at this topic. You need to go brush up on it. And so I did the exam. The first one, I think I got like a 25-30%. It was brutal. I did not feel great leaving that one. So I did that. I'd go back and I would go through all the solutions for all 50 of them, write down the answers, and then as I was working through, I would have a on demand up. So hey, I didn't get the right answer for the circuit analysis. The answer is here. Let's go watch the KCL video or something like that. And that really, after doing that for your last month, the last big push before the exam, it was really good on retention. Because like you were saying, it's 3 months. You're not going to remember everything. There's a bunch of little tips and tricks and sections like that. So the exams were super helpful in that regard.
Right. And this took you almost a dedicated month, give or take?
Yeah, my final, yeah, it was probably about a month. I mean, you would probably remember a little easier of when the last week section
30th of
was.
March. March
Yeah,
30th.
so
Yeah.
yeah, so April, May, and I just took it a week ago. So month and a half of retouching up on some of those. I redid a few of the homeworks, ones I didn't feel good on. The the circuit analysis. I just knew that was going to be a big topic, so I really wanted to hammer it home.
That's a good strategy. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I went through and redid some of those homeworks and rewatched the on demands I didn't feel great with. Because I mean, with time commitments, I was able to get comfortably on the on demand. I think I hit 50%, and I wasn't like I. There were some sections I felt really good on that I didn't need to. I kind of like brushed through. I watched all the lives, but then when I got to that point, doing the exams, it was hey, you do need to go rewatch or watch this for the first time now. This section, so would go brush through, hit some of that sections.
No, that's great. I like your methodical approach because a lot of times what I find is that students, as they approach their exam day, right, and they're like, Wasim, I'm having issue remembering what I learned a few months ago. Well, that is natural because there's just so much content that you have to cover in FE Electrical. Your approach is identical, or maybe you were inspired by the recommendations that I was making along the way, is to leave a couple of weeks, 2 to 4 weeks, ideally, for this particular exercise that you're going through, right? Do the practice exams, learn the diagnostic, identify the gaps, and then hit those topics using the coursework or whatever resource you are using. And this gives you an opportunity to actually revisit those problem areas. And then also, if you have a little bit extra time, look at the adjacent concepts. And that will button up your preparation really nicely. There is no magic potion. There is no shortcut to it. It's just that you have to put in that time and execute the plan in order to connect all the dots before the exam. And it's really important to do that because the exam only gives you slightly under 3 minutes per question, 2.9 minutes per question. And if you're rusty and if you have not recently gone through the topics and completed a few high quality practice problems and whatnot, You may be able to figure things out on the exam, but if every question is taking 5 minutes of your time, there is no way you'll be able to complete the exam, right? So you're leaving a lot of questions unanswered. So this strategy, this methodology, your daily routine, your weekly routine, Ryan, I think, and the catch up that you had to do, despite the catch up that you had to do early on, it's really impressive. You got this one and done, 6+ years out of school. And I look forward to seeing you in the P Power exam and one preparation. And one thing I'd advise is that it's always a good idea to jump into P Power sooner rather than later after you have completed FE Electrical. And then utilizing the on demand 100% is going to be crucial for the P Power. It's a very deep technical exam, even more so than FE Electrical.
Definitely. No, I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Thanks for your time, Ryan. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.
Wasim.
If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. On a weekly basis, I'm creating content for FE Electrical and P Power exam preparation. I also discuss topics related to electrical engineering with a focus on power systems engineering. If you'd like to learn more about my FE Electrical and P Power exam preparation programs, please visit my website, StudyForFE.com.